Hi. Question number one. An important concept I recall from the American government and politics course is the role of media in American democracy. In short, media crucially informs citizens of political developments. As a result, well-informed citizens can more easily determine how they should respond to political issues. In addition, digital media plays a key role in monitoring politicians and government. So while skilled journalists may seek to report news transparently and factually, digital media has enabled opinion-driven journalism. Opinion-driven journalism involves blurring distinctions between truthful reporting and biased opinion. This has generally changed how I view American politics in that I now recognize the influential power behind American digital media. It's interesting how media, such as American big tech companies, have the ability to direct public attention towards certain political issues and not others. This process, I learned, is known as priming, and it can clearly be seen in today's culture as media monopolies skillfully direct the attention of individuals to selective topics. Question number two. Before this course, I understood very little about American politics. In truth, my knowledge of this subject covered only simple terms and definitions. However, after taking American government and politics, I can see how politics involves an intricate system of rights and responsibilities, a changing social composition, and foundational values. It is our duty as American citizens to be well informed of these political values and knowledge. However, while the internet and social media have made it easier to learn about important political issues, disinformation has complicated the process of political participation. As a result, it is important to take the initiative to become well informed on these matters and to be involved politically. An important quote I found in Chapter 8 says, social media make possible tiny acts of political participation. Following a candidate or organization, liking, sharing, or commenting on a post that can scale up to dramatic changes leading to real-world political protests, voter mobilization drives, and the election of candidates and parties to government. Digital media has allowed U.S. citizens to easily participate politically through simple actions that result in nationwide change. After recognizing the influential power of social media, I can see the importance of seeking political understanding through outlets other than media as well. For example, participation. Political participation can also look like attending campaign events, volunteering for candidates, or engaging in protests. After reading chapters 6 through 8, it became clear to me that political participation involves more than simply accepting and adapting to the opinions of others around you and what they believe. It truly is important to put effort into understanding political issues and opinions in order to make an educated decision. Question number three. Looking back at my work this semester, the assignment I found most enjoyable was the discussion on chapters 4 and 5. This assignment covered the complexities behind who determines the standard for freedom of speech. And I remember that most agreed fighting words and fighting speech forms that cause immediate harm should not be counted as protected speech, while regular opinions should be protected even if they are offensive. For the sake of democracy, it is definitely important to protect an individual's right to freedom of speech. One sentence from my reply that I recall as interesting is, I'm going to read it. Although some people may wrongfully use this right to express racism or hate, restricting such speech entirely may lead to a loss of other forms of speech. I think this is another crucial aspect of political thinking to remember, in that even in the midst of degrading hate speech, Without freedom of expression, other important, uplifting, good forms of speech might be lost. It was brought out in chapters 4 and 5 that these restrictions could eventually lead to full censorship, especially in digital media. And again, I'm sorry for talking about digital media again. It's just something I found very interesting in this course. At the end of my reply in discussion 4 and 5, I asked if they thought social media should be like a college campus, which does enforce restrictions on harmful speech, or if it should be seen as a public street where individuals can have freedom to express their views and opinions. After completing the course, I think that some limits in social media are definitely necessary to actively enforce rules against bullying, threats, or dangerous false information. However, it is true that we should not limit social media entirely, else platforms control speech too heavily and they censor opinions that they disagree with. That would limit political discussion. So there is no definite answer, and I think that a balanced approach might work best, which I guess is already in place. Social media could protect freedom of expression while still enforcing rules against direct harm, such as threats, targeted as harassment, or incitement to violence. This could allow people to share ideas openly without the fear of censorship. Question number 4. In truth, I desire to take this course again and to fully commit to understanding the content. This course is significantly important, and I regret not being able to allot enough time in order to fully ingrain the material to my mindset. I apologize so much for not submitting a majority of the discussion posts. And something differently I would do in the case of retaking this course is to prioritize the subject. For I do now believe that politics are a critical aspect of our daily lives, and any school courses involving such politics should be a critical aspect as well. Question number 5. The concept I can definitely connect to my own life, community, and decisions as a citizen is also the profound influence of digital media on politics. Especially for my generation, social media and internet resources are a definite influence upon what we believe and how we view and understand the world around us. I think what we learned in this class about the importance of taking the initiative to become well educated on the topic of American government and politics must be taken into consideration outside of the classroom so that we do not base our own political interpretations upon the biased opinions of those who are most influential in the digital world. It really is a matter of thinking for ourselves and ensuring that we do not fall prey to the opinions of others, which may more often than not be incorrect. And with something as important as political issues, which define our lifestyle as citizens in America, I think that this matter should not be taken lightly. We must guard our hearts and minds from being deceived by falsities in media, especially since it is something we allow into almost every moment of our daily lives. Number 6, really, this course answered many questions. I may that This course answered many questions that I may have had concerning American government and politics. I would say something that stood out to me was in chapter 11, the topic of interest groups, which is something I never knew about beforehand. I now know that interest groups are organized associations of individuals that supposedly share common concerns and they seek to influence public policy and government decision making. I found these groups to be interesting because they are an example of influence in politics. But I guess questions I had concerning this was whether they truly do represent the public or simply their own opinions. For example, wealthy corporate groups, they do have more lobbying resources than groups representing low income citizens or public interests. Again, on the topic of influence, I am wondering if money is the true key to policy control, or if, for example, in digital media, it truly is a matter of pure influence. I think that if one gains the majority of people's support, they have a profound impact on policy-making decisions, even if they are not funded. And this is something that can be seen in those who influence others' ideas and opinions by processing their own biases into the public through digital media. This could definitely be a strategy that makes me think about whether or not social media's power to allow marginalized groups to organize quickly without funding might be most effective. It is definitely a topic I will keep in mind and take notice of as we go about elections during this time of year. Question number 7. In truth, I approached this reflection with hesitation, as I thought of all the material we covered throughout the semester. And again, I'm so sorry I couldn't dedicate the time that I originally intended to this course. It took me about 2 days to complete this reflection, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to review our course material and to settle in my mind what points stood out to me throughout the semester. Thank you so much, Professor. God bless you.